Hello, my fellow humans, and welcome back to Scatter Love Tarot, with your girl coming at you with another pick a card reading. I would like to say thank you to anyone and everyone that continues to be a supportive part of this journey with me. I'm truly honored to be sharing this time and this space with you, and if you are new here, welcome. This is that reminder that we're all here sharing this human experience together, and that this is a safe space to show up as your highest, most aligned, loving, authentic selves. With that being said, we do things completely differently here on this channel, and if the messages happen to resonate with you, it would mean the world to me if you were to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you are interested in supporting the channel further, check out the description box. It'll have everything you need in order to do so. I got this as a channeled message in my meditation today, and I was like, oh, this seems like a really fun reading, but it came through very clearly, and the question was, who are you? So I'm not exactly sure what to expect from this reading. However, we're going in with an open mind, an open heart, and we're going to see what comes through. Now, news. This is the updates, because as you all know, I live and travel in an RV. I have been stationed next to the ocean for the last 6 months, and the time has come for me to move on to my next destination. So, as you're watching this, if you're watching this the day that it's posted, in the next few days, I will be traveling. I am going to do my best to make sure that you have video coverage while I am gone. However, should there happen to be a lapse in videos, you will now know why. It is because I will be traveling. And as always, I will make sure that you have updates on the community tab as well on posts. So definitely check that out on a regular basis, because I'm always posting on there, and it also includes information as to what's happening with the channel and where I am at. Okay, so I'm excited to move on, but I'm a little sad to leave the ocean. I really love staying next to the ocean, but I'm ready to embark on my next adventure. So we're going to see how that turns out. Let's go ahead and get into your prayer, and we will get this reading underway for you today. So I'm excited to see what comes out. All right. Okay, my beloved source, this prayer is for anyone and everyone that comes onto this reading, whether it's for the entire time or for a moment's time. Sometimes we don't even know who we are ourselves, and so today I ask that you guide us into understanding ourselves a little bit deeper and clearer, and knowing that we're not meant to fit in, and that that's okay. That's actually the beautiful thing about us each being ourselves and truly being authentic to that part of ourselves, knowing that we were never designed to fit in with the entire crowd. But sometimes that can feel a little scary, especially when there's expectations that are placed upon us from others that we need to fit into this idea of what people think that we should be, or how we should act, or how we should show up in our lives. So I ask today that you help us clear our hearts and clear our minds, so that we can receive direct messages, not only from you, but from our heart's desires and our heart's wants, and knowing that what we deeply desire, it matters. It matters to us, and it matters to our journey here in this lifetime on this physical planet. As these words are spoken upon this tribe and onto this reading, so shall they be. Amen. Aho. Ase. Thank you, thank you, thank you, my beloved source. Thank you. So I'm going to get this set up over here. Okay. Awesome. Let us get to traveling. All right, source. What wild unknown... Let's put that there so we don't blow that into the fire. Alright. What wild unknown animal, spirit, guide, oracle will help us better understand who my fellow humans are? What wild unknown animal, spirit, Oracle will help us better understand this message today, Source, the channel message you wanted me to bring. Who are my fellow humans? What would you like to share with us today? What animal oracle will help us better understand this? Okay, thank you. What animal oracle will help us better understand who are my fellow humans, Source? Wow, the cards are acting all hinky. Alright. Who are my fellow humans, Source? For pile number 1. What wild unknown animal oracle will help us better understand who pile number 1 is? Thank you. For pile number 2, Source, what wild unknown animal oracle card will help us better understand who pile number 2 is? Whoa. Thank you. For pile number 3, Source, what wild unknown animal oracle card will help us better understand who is pile number 3? Thank you. Alright, channel message for the collective. I love that shark came out as a collective message. Who are you? You are someone with a purpose. Like, that is very clear. You're also meant to be a leader, and in some instances feared and revered as this very powerful individual. And that doesn't have to be worldwide, okay? Like, I know some people aren't out here striving to be seen by all corners of the world, and I appreciate that. But for some of you, this really means that in your community, in your job, in your position where you're at, like whatever it is you're meant to create, you're meant to be seen as a good leader, someone that doesn't mess around and I don't want to mess with you, right? Very powerful, very emotionally intelligent, and ancient in some way, shape, or form, right? Very ancient wisdom, very ancient knowledge that's being channeled through you, that you are living the ways of the ancient ancestors and bringing that into a very modern day place. And it seems out of sorts. However, it's something that resonates deeply with many people's souls, right? It's like through the water, you being authentic and true to yourself is something that ripples out through the water, and it touches so many people in so many different ways. And it's a very powerful energy. Let's see what Shark says from the book. All right. Love that Shark came through for you. All right, Sharky Shark, where are you at? I almost wish that this had an easier way to locate, but no, we're just gonna go through it. Okay, we see dolphin, whale. Okay, shark should be here somewhere. There we are. There we are. Okay. Directness, exposure, revealing true nature and desire. The shark is only dangerous when we don't acknowledge it, right? You're not someone who's meant to be messed with. And even if people have messed with you, just understanding that in the spiritual realm, there's a lot of ancestors, spirit guides that are going to bat for you. So you don't have to dwell on that. That's not something that you have to spend a whole lot of time worrying about. So this card indicates that something big needs to be exposed. It's lurking in the depths and creating tension. Shark energy takes over us when we are hesitant to be honest, to be totally ourselves, or to say what we really want. It may be tempting to continue pretending nothing is wrong, but when shark energy is at play, we feel its presence encircling us. When in balance, you're intriguing, captivating, and mysterious. When out of balance, you're sneaky and destructive. To bring into balance is radical honesty. And that's very telling too, right? Because it's that authenticity that's coming through where it's like, you don't fit in, but that's okay. That's what needs to be happening here, because you're meant to bring some sort of creation or idea or lesson to the world around us. So very powerful collective energy across the board, and does not surprise me that shark came out for my collective here. All right, so let me go ahead and get these set up for you. Now I just rolled these, so what came through is what came through. Don't be intimidated by what's on the dice, like if it's seemingly a an energy that you're like, oh, I don't want it, like Saturn in the South Node. Sometimes everyone's like, oh, I don't want it. Don't be intimidated by that. That's just what rolled out, and it sometimes has to do with the reading itself, but I've also found that at times it doesn't, okay? So for pile number 1, we do have this dice with the South Node on it for you to choose from. Or we have this feather, which is a Greckle feather. And pile number 2, we have this dice with the moon on it for you to choose from. We have this beautiful rose quartz. And pile number 3, we do have this dice with Jupiter showing. Or we have this lapis lazuli third eye gemstone with the seed sound Om, A-U-M, Aum on it. So we have pile 1, pile 2, and pile 3. And whichever pile you feel called to, that should be your pile. And I will see you over there. Hello, my fellow human. If you were drawn to this dice with the South Node showing, or if you were drawn to this feather, which is a Greckle feather, or if you're drawn to this card during the shuffle, this is going to be your reading on who are you. I do want to say first and foremost, thank you to anyone and everyone that continues to be a supportive part of this journey. I'm truly honored to be sharing this time and this space with you. And for those of you that are new here, welcome. This is that reminder that we're all here sharing this human experience together, and that this is a safe space to show up as your highest, most aligned, loving, authentic selves. We do things completely differently here on this channel, so with that in mind, if the messages do resonate with you, it would mean so much to me if you were to like, comment, and subscribe below. And we're going to go ahead and hop to it and find out, who are you? So Source, for pile number 1, what would you like to share with us today? Who are they? What messages would you like to come through, Source? Who is pile number 1? What would you like to share with us today, Source? For pile number 1, who are they? So we've got the first house. I can't. We've got South Node coming out. And Leo. You are, in some ways, a mirror to others. I'm just grabbing my block. You are a mirror to others, where you bring a lot of very uncomfortable energy just by you being outwardly yourself. It sets the tone for others to embrace their own authenticity, right? And you're someone that demands authenticity, and not everyone is ready or willing to meet you where you're at. And it scares people at times because you're coming from a very genuine place. Like, you're not trying to be hurtful, mean, or unkind to those that are being triggered by you. You're literally just being yourself. You showing up as yourself, you're this person who automatically triggers people. So you're the trigger. That's who you are. You're the trigger. It's just you being you. The more authentic that you are, the deeper you trigger people. And that can be a blessing and a curse, because as a blessing, right, you're helping to be the leader to which others find healing. And as a curse, you can also receive a lot of pushback from people because of that. And I feel like you've probably experienced the whole spectrum of what that means. And there's been plenty of times where it's been incredibly uncomfortable. Maybe people have called you a lot of names. You've dealt with a lot of very egotistical people as well, who live in the material world, who are very connected to the physical realm and the validation that they're seeking with that. And when they're not met with what they expect people to show up in their lives as, which you do basically the opposite of what people think of you being a person would do. And that sounds strange, right? It's not like you're just doing it to irritate people. You're just doing it because it's naturally who you are. You're just naturally in this energy where it's like, if someone expects you to show up a certain way, you're not going to show up that way. And it's not because it's not genuine. It's just because you're not guided to show up that way. And part of that comes from the mysteries, right? So the direct connection that you have with the divine and with your higher self, and the ability to listen to your intuition and be led by that gut feeling is coming in. It wouldn't surprise me, Pile 1, if you had a life path number of 1. Also, a life path number of 3 is coming in. And I know we don't talk a lot about life path numbers, but that was just coming in really powerfully right now. You could also have your south node in Leo, which would put your north node in Aquarius, or vice versa. So south node in Aquarius, north node in Leo. And you could also have rising Leo or Venus Leos coming in as well. And first house in retrograde energy is coming in. That was very strange and unique. So maybe you have a retrograde planet in your first house as well, or you might have retrograde in your chart highly aspect. And it's just forcing people to slow down and to reevaluate where they're at. And so you're naturally in this energy where you're bringing people to slow down and say, look, like, we have to reevaluate what it is that we want in life, because the things that we're enamored by and the things that we've fallen in love with at face value aren't necessarily the things for us. So as a child, you were probably a very wise child and a very aware child, and it could have triggered parents, siblings, grandparents, aunties, uncles, family members, because you did not conform to what they expected you to conform to. And you could have gotten left out a lot. You could have also experienced a lot of like just getting in trouble really for seemingly no reason is what's coming in here. It's like being punished just for being you. And that's really rough. And I feel like you choosing to find space to become authentic has been an enormous struggle for you, but also incredibly rewarding the more you're able to lean into that. Kind of like Harry Potter vibes when he was with his aunt and uncle. That's what they're showing me right now, is like just this different energy, and oh, you don't fit into the family, so we're gonna lock you up so no one else can see you. Like Cinderella vibes too are coming in. I'm actually gonna use my Tarot Marseille deck. I was going to use the Wild Unknown Tarot today, but I'm really getting called to use my original deck, so we're going to go with it, because I feel like I need to dig in deep for this reading today. So, Source, who is pile number 1? What would you like to share with us today? Yeah, having to find your strength in spite of people telling you or expecting you who to be, like having to find out who you are without taking on what everyone else expected. You're just naturally meant to trigger people. You're naturally meant to help people heal from things that they otherwise wouldn't have been triggered by. So you're basically the filler, and it's not, and that's not to, don't take that lightly, right? Don't be like, oh, I don't want to be the filler. No, it's like when people are running away from themselves and they don't want to heal themselves. So say they have a lot of abusive relationships in their life. Like, you're going to come in and you're just going to naturally talk about abusive situations in front of them. And you're going to be guided to talk about this. It's not something that you're doing knowingly. It's literally you being led by source to do this. And naturally in that moment, because you're talking about an abusive situation, then it's going to trigger this person, and it's going to push them into a place where they're either going to choose to heal or they're going to continue to run away. Okay? Who is pile number 1, source? Yeah. Yeah, you've had a lot of defeat in your life. And I'm not laughing at you. I'm just laughing because it's just interesting that they'd start this energy with exactly what it is that you do to other people. But that's what you yourself have had to face. And it's almost like you were meant to have a really rough childhood so that later in life you could embrace the fact that you're not everybody's cup of tea. And be okay with that. You could have been a very, very big people pleaser as a child. You could have Cancer highly aspect in your chart. You could have the 4th house and its home in Cancer as well. You could have Cancer moon. You could have Pisces moon as well. Pisces in the 8th and the 9th house is coming through as well. Ace of Cups in the reverse. Oh my goodness. A lot of water here. Yeah, you were not meant to experience stability as a child in your home emotionally, because it's all that energy of disharmony and chaos that actually inspired you to dig deep and find out more about yourself. So you're naturally someone that you arrive when people are very spiritually defeated. You might notice that there's a pattern of people who connect with you. So like people who have just experienced a death, people who've just experienced losing sign. I'm going to say some triggering things on here, so I just want to warn you before we get into it too deep, okay? You could be talking to people constantly in your life. You've always met people right after a friend or family member has committed suicide. You could be talking to people after they have experienced the loss of a pet, or having experienced the loss of a massive career or massive financial devastation in their life. But it's like a pattern that you see that's reoccurring. And it could be something that you yourself have experienced in your life. But for many of you, I actually don't feel like you experience the same pattern that's coming into your life. But for whatever reason, you're able to put yourself in those people's shoes, and you're the only person that hears and understands, believes them, and experiences that with them, and it makes them feel less alone. And that's because of how rough childhood was for you. You're able to just mold yourself to every situation, because it's like, well, if I went through that, this is how I would feel. And it's like you're tapping into the collective consciousness. It's not just you saying, well, this is how I would feel if I was going through that. You're literally tapping into that person's consciousness and saying, hearing, this is how I feel. And so you're able to mold yourself to that situation. And that brings up with it a lot of healing, but that also brings with it a lot of resistance, because whether or not we want to believe it, sometimes our emotional ego, it really gets a huge boost from feeling like it's the only one that feels that way in life. So if someone actually does come in and is like, hey, I get it, I get where you're coming from, we're immediately like, no, you don't. Even if you said all the right words, the emotional ego is like, I'm alone, I'll always be alone, and that's getting cemented, and so they're going to naturally push you away. But it comes from having experienced a lot of trauma, also especially the mother wound. You could have had a very traumatic past with your mother. You could have had where maybe she was physically abusive to you, she was emotionally abusive to you, she used you in order to get what she needed from other people. Like, there's a lot of different energies here, and so naturally you were like, probably have thought back, and it's like, oh, I can't stand my mother, I can't stand what she put me through. It could be a very feminine father or water sign father as well, but it's like there was a lot of animosity, hate, and resentment towards that situation. The source is saying this was something to build you up to what you're becoming right now, which is a lot easier said than to embrace and accept, because there's something very powerful about broken hearts that you're here to help fill the cracks with the love of light. So it's like all these people that have experienced broken hearts and sorrow from the world, and you're here to bring in, you're the glue, but the glue is light and love. It's like the gold glue that they fill in with the cracks to give it extra character. You're filling in people who have sorrow, hurt, and pain. You're filling in their cracks with love, and you're reminding them about love. But some people are taking that glue and then re-breaking themselves again because they don't feel like they're actually capable of being fixed. And that can be really rough. Yeah, the Seven of Swords. This is something that's been an ongoing situation in your life as well. And there's this feeling where, what I was saying earlier, I got that feeling of this is a blessing and a curse. There's times when you maybe have witnessed some very deep healing, some very profound healing of other people, and that may have made you feel so fulfilled. You're like, wow, that's incredible. But at other times, and what feels like an overwhelming amount of times, has been this ridiculously strong pushback where it feels like you're getting stuck in a lost cause. Like, what's the point of me having this ability to heal people? What's the point of me having this ability to dig into the consciousness, the collective consciousness? What is the point of all this when it's people who just continually try to break me down, try to make me feel like I'm not good enough, try to make me feel all these things? But it's actually all of those reasons that keep fueling the drive at your heart's level to continue to do what you're doing, because your heart wants to see a world that's healed. But knowingly, our consciousness is saying that's not going to happen in our lifetime. But your heart is saying that's okay. It's not meant to happen in your lifetime. You're the stone that was dropped into the water that changed the reflection. And that's the beauty of that. And so it's a very difficult situation. It's a very profound situation. It's an incredibly deep spiritual situation. And it comes with more hassles than perks. But I'm going to tell you, Pile 1, the perks that come with this outweigh most everybody else's perks in life. Right? So that could be a comfort of home. That could be a grand love in your life. That could be having friends that surround you that help keep you balanced and supported. That could be having wealth that gets you to the places that you want to see around the world or in your life. You know, and it's not monetary wealth here. This is a wealth of love and a wealth of support in your life. Even if it's one person, the connection that you have with this one person is going to outweigh most other people's perks in their lives. And it's a promise this source is given to you, but you're meant to do this. You're meant to be here to do these things. And that comes from a past where in a past life you were someone who went through the healing yourself. And now in this life, you're very aware of what people need to do in order to step up into their higher aligned selves. And you've had to do healing as well from your past, from the trauma, from the childhood wounds. But it was easy for you to step into that energy of making sure you took care of yourself and did what was right for yourself, even if you felt like you were stumbling at times, because you're meant to be the leader. You're meant to be the guide for others, which is why we have the South Node energy coming in, which is so telling that yours was the South Node and it came back out in the dice reading. Because it's showing that you're here to help people let go of what they've clung to for so long. And this is a heavy weight to carry, but you're the only person capable of carrying this cross. And that's scary, but it's also It's beautiful because it just goes, at least for me as a reader, as I'm tapping into your energy, it's showing me just how massive of a spirit you are and how capable you are to handle things that newer spirits and people who haven't healed are incapable of handling. And that's a very powerful place to be at. And you've had so many lifetimes that this life is literally you becoming the leader through healing. Yes, it's going to have its setbacks. Yes, there's going to be its hardships. That's life, right? And it might seem like you're having harder time than other people as well. And in truth, you may very well be having a much harder time than other people. Like, nothing comes easy to you. But the reason that nothing comes easy to you is because your spirit knows how to do all of this in the blink of an eye, at the snap of a finger. And all it's asking for is for you to sit back and trust the guidance that you're receiving. And when you do, you might start to see how things line up, how you get connected with certain people, or how you're able to help certain people at any one given moment. We had Virgo coming out, integrity, reverence, and service. You're here, again, this idea, the 6th house deals with our health, our well-being, our routines as well. So this is routine for you. On a spiritual level, this is something you do naturally. You do not consciously do this. This is not something that you're like, oh, I'm consciously going out here to try to help people. And even if you consciously try to help people, it's not something that you would know how to do, when, and where. It's something that comes intuitively to you. And this is a very intuitive gift that you have. And it is a gift. It is your gift that you're leaning into. And it is driven by the want of a healed world, the want of a balanced world, right? And Virgo, here we have that coming back to innocence energy, the innocence that has been lost. You might stand in a room of people and you feel like you're the only one who gets it, the only one who gets reality and what it is, and that we're meant to be kind to each other, we're meant to love each other, we're meant to be gentle in this life, but all you're seeing is the backlash, the hurt, the sorrow, the want to just destroy. And so how do you become a creative force in a destructive arena? And you're doing that just by being you. And the more authentic you are, it's not about you changing anything. It's just about you truly letting yourself be who you are. Not being afraid to say what you need to say. Not being afraid to say what comes to your heart. Not being afraid to express yourself in creative ways. The more you do that, the more you become, they're saying the annihilator. That's what they just said. Yeah, it's like you're becoming the annihilator of destruction. So it's like you're a greater force than the destructive energy that people are in. Wow. House 7, exactly. With that connection. Connection is very important to you. And that's why I said, for you, pile 1, the perks of this is somebody in your life that's a ride or die, like a true ride or die. They're going to be there by your side through thick and thin. Like, you can be who you are with them. You don't have to hold back. And of course, that's the goal. We don't want to do that with anyone anyways, but this is someone who, like, from the time that you guys met and started building a connection, you've always been free to express yourself with them. And if you haven't met them yet, that's something that's coming with House 7. Profound relationships, intimacy, and romantic partnership. It could be a romantic partnership, but more than anything, beginning, this is a soul tribe that's coming in. A member of a very elite class of souls is what you are, pile 1. It's very, very high vibrational energy, but it's very easy for you to get bogged down in this 3D realm as well. And so it's important to maintain that free flow of energy and connect with source. Yeah, fuel your inner fire with Vista. And isn't it interesting, because this whole time I've kept saying that this is fueled by your heart's want to see a balanced, harmonious world. And so this is something that's fueled by what your heart wants. And the more you pour into yourself, the easier it is for this to be made manifest in your life. And I'm not going to ever promise you, pile 1. I'm not going to sit here as a reader and promise you, like, the more authentic you get, the easier and better your life is going to be, because the reality is like you're the flame to which moths are driven to, which means there's going to be high vibrational beings and there's going to be very low vibrational beings. You're the flame. You are the flame. You're the igniter. You're the one that ignites the world on fire. And that's uncomfortable because sometimes you have to burn down whole forests in order to renew and to have that rebirth. And that's a big scar on the land, but it's necessary, right? And there's going to be people who are on board with that. And there are going to be many, many more people who are not ready to let go because they feel like I've been here for so long and I know everything and no one can do it better than I can, right? That emotional ego that's coming through. But you burn and that burn, it scars everybody that you meet, but it scars them either in a very beautiful way or it repeats a cycle for them that they're going to have to go on now and they're going to have to heal. Okay, so it's almost like your fortuna. You're turning people's fortunes, but it's your spirit that does it. Rhinoceros. Look, all this fire that's coming out with this energy. We have moderation here. Everything is good in moderation, right? And too much of one thing is a bad thing. It's so if people draw away from you, it's not you personally. It's just because you're someone who can only take the world in moderation. And remember that that's very true of you too. Most of the time there's people who can only take you in moderation because your spirit expects so much of them or demands a high price from them. And I feel like it's been a very lonely journey for you, and that's heartbreaking in and of itself because you never deserve to feel lonely. And it's the more that you choose to align with yourself, the less lonely you feel and the more you enjoy your own company. Wow, we had the Hermit card from this deck flip over. Seek solitude to focus intently on inner life, serves personal creativity. The Shadow is withdrawals from society out of fear or negative judgments of others, refusing to help those in need. Yeah, so we see here it's like you're coming into these very solitude moments, these very, at times, seemingly isolated moments, but they're not really truly isolated. It is so that you can recover from the magnitude of the hurt that surrounds the world right now. It's like a haze. You go out, you're walking in the haze, so you can only breathe that in for so long before you have to go home. It's like, I gotta clear my lungs. You're clearing your spiritual lungs, and that's why you draw back into yourself. So remember that if people do that with you too, it's because you're asking a high price in the spiritual realm, and not everybody's willing or ready to pay that. On the bottom, yeah, we have the Midas and the Miser. We have entrepreneurial or creative ability to turn anything to gold. Delight in sharing life's riches. For you, this is sharing knowledge, wisdom, understanding. Shadow is hoarding money and emotions, obsessive fear of losing your wealth. I got the hiccups all of a sudden. You oftentimes get stuck in repeat situations where there's a lot of people who are hoarders of emotions. Wow. These hiccups came on so strong. Let me get a drink of water. And it's frustrating because it's like, what the heck? I feel like you're wondering if Source has it out for you, but this just fell out of the deck. Transformation is beautiful. Butterfly spirit with the number 11. This is a very spiritual journey for you this time around. So this lifetime is very spiritual for you. And it's the more that you can connect with your higher self and the more that you can connect with Source, the easier things will be for you. I'm actually going to put this back in the deck. If it wants to come out, it will. We'll see what comes through for you. What else would you like to tell? Pile number 1. Who are they? You have the Chameleon. Didn't I say you can blend in? As if you have experienced it yourself. And the message here is act as if. So whatever anybody's gone through and that pattern that keeps coming up in your life, it's because you can act as if it's already happened to you, even if it has not. Right? And that's the change, right? Chameleons change, right? They blend in, they stand out, they change. And there's number 14 here, which is 5, and 5 is a very uncomfortable place of change. You could also have a life path number of 5, but I highly feel drawn to 1 and 3 for this pile. And if that's not you, that doesn't mean that this isn't your message, okay? Yeah, and being playful is important for you as well. But we do have 51, which is 6, about balance, resolution, solution, seeing yourself through eyes of unconditional love, being playful, finding ways to enjoy life, because you carry a very heavy task. It is an incredibly heavy task, but it is so necessary in the world. All right, what else, Source, would you like to tell pile number 1? Hunger. Yeah, there's this feels like desire to me. There's this hunger, this drive that's fueling you. I cannot sleep soundly at night unless I know that the world has come back to its truth, right? And that's the movement. That's the movement for you. Like, this makes me feel like poking and prodding people, reminding them that there's something else, there's something more to life. But so many people get scared, right? That Midas Miser energy that was on the bottom of the deck, they get scared to let go of that. Oh, it's just about the world, it's about the worldly things, but there's actually a lot more to the world. Yeah, cusp, break on through. You make people break through things that have been... What is it when people are comfortably uncomfortable? That's exactly what South Node energy is. I'm perfectly comfortable in this ridiculously uncomfortable situation because they're used to it. And so you're helping them break through what they're used to rebuild in a different direction. Wow, we've got the Raven coming through news. Yeah. This goes back to what I was, look, in 23, 5 again. 555 coming out for you. But this was going back to what I was saying, like, Source drives you. So your intuition is what's constantly driving you. So if you go and you feel called to say hello to someone, it might be a very rough situation. All of a sudden afterwards, you're like, wow, I learned this person's life. And I, talked to them about things that they were going through. And I didn't realize that I was going to get this deep in. You also got the Greco feather, which is a black bird, right? A blackbird feather. And so there's something about how you communicate with the spiritual realm. Maybe you don't recognize or realize it just yet, or you're learning just how deeply connected you are. But this journey on this time that you're alive in this realm at this moment is actually not about the physical desires that you can manifest. It is literally about how you can be an ambassador of Source energy on this world. And the more that you draw closer to yourself and the more that you draw closer to Source, the easier it is for you to bring the messages that you need to bring without feeling that pushback, or realizing that and understanding, what I should say is understanding that pushback has nothing to do with you, that you really are a channel for Source, and a very profound one at that. So let's see what your card is. I'm going to read this from the book. Wow, we have this starfish. Whoa. Isn't it interesting? Like, I believe that starfish can get one of their arms cut off and it'll grow back. I'm pretty sure it's a starfish that can do that. But it's like that regeneration energy, right? Like, no matter how many times you get cut, you come back. Like, you're never disfigured because of life, or you're never broken or yeah, I guess disfigured is the best word. You're not affected by that. It affects you for a time being, but then you come back stronger. Wow. It's a really powerful message to come in. All right, water energy. Starfish, there we are. Okay, so we have beautiful, alluring, superficial, or shallow. So you're dealing with a lot of superficial or shallow people. The starfish is a natural and exquisite beauty, mesmerizing to all. Being around someone with starfish energy is a thrill, like you've been put under a spell of divinity itself. Yeah, You are an embodiment of the divine. I love that. The problem is these creatures have been reliant on how they look and what other people think of them for so long that they may have forgotten their deeper callings. When this card appears, it's important to ask, am I being swayed by outward appearances? What dreams have I put aside to please others? And this whole time, we've been bringing up that the more you follow what your heart desires, the more aligned you get and the easier things start to get for you, even though you're still always going to have difficult situations. And I don't say that to be disheartening. I just say that as a preparation for you to know that it's because of who you are. You're always going to naturally have difficult times because you're sent here to trigger people. Like, it's what you decided before you came to Earth. But it's a very powerful place to be at, and it's a very powerful gift that you've decided to take on. Okay? What dreams have I put aside to please others? It says, when in balance, you are uplifting, artistic, and expressive. When out of balance, you tend to gossip or feel empty. To bring into balance, I cannot make this up, it says positive friends. Yeah, so very, very big confirmation here. A huge confirmation where Source is saying you're going to be promised someone or a group of people who are going to lift you up to places that you've never been because of the job that you're sent here to do, because of the purpose that you have. It's a very powerful one. It's a very incredible job as well. So this is what I see here for you, pile number 1. If this felt like your reading, leave the little star emoji, because I don't think there's a starfish. If there is a starfish, put the starfish. But if not, leave the star emoji down below and say, I'm a fallen star from heaven, sent here to bring love and light and to fill in the cracks of humanity's suffering with that joy and with that light. And if it resonated, it would mean so much to me if you were to like, comment, and subscribe below. And if you're interested in supporting the channel further, check out the description box. It will have everything you need, including how to reach me for a personal reading, as well as how to join as a member here on the channel. And with that, I would like to take this moment to thank your guides, your spirit messengers, your angel source, and my spirit guides for coming together to give us this truly powerful message. And until next time, pile number 1, stay human. Bye. Hello, my fellow human. If you were drawn to this dice with the moon on it, if you were drawn to this rose quartz piece, or if you were drawn to this card during the shuffle, this is going to be a reading on who are you. I would like to say thank you to anyone and everyone that continues to be a supportive part of this journey with me. I'm truly honored to be sharing this time and this space with you. And if you're new here, welcome. This is that reminder that we're all here sharing this human experience together, and that this is a safe space to show up as your highest, most aligned, loving, authentic selves. And we do things completely differently around here. So with that being said, if the messages happen to resonate with you, it would mean the world to me if you were to like, comment, and subscribe down below. And with that, let's hop to it and find out who is pile number 2 source. What would you like to share with us today about pile number 2? Who are they? Source, what would you like to share with us today about pile number 2? Who are they? What would you like to bring forth? Okay, so wow, we've got the 8th house. We have Cancer energy and Mars. Let me tap into this. You know, it's interesting. We're always talking about light workers, and I feel like we don't give enough credit to people who are shadow workers. And I feel like that's exactly what you are. Like, you're here to help people see directly into their codependencies. And is that worse than, or is that, you know, bad being a shadow worker? No, like, we're not looking at this from a bad place. We're looking at this as someone who's willing to dig into the 8th house, you know, secrets, things that are behind closed doors, things that people don't want to know about, the occult, wisdom, knowledge that's been hidden. It's like we're looking at this energy where you are someone who is constantly opening yourself up to more and more information and integrating it as you're taking it in. And then lovingly sharing that information with others in a very big way, in a very kind way, but also pointing a very bright light onto situations that are codependent, that are one-sided, that are unhealed, that are maybe passive aggressive, or that have issues with relationships here. The mother wound is coming through as well. You could have resonated with pile 1. That's if you're choosing to watch pile number 2 as well. So that's coming in. But I do feel like this is talking about really difficult relationships in life where people just have not been able to match up. Like, it wouldn't surprise me, pile 2, if you were a counselor of some sorts, or relationship or marriage counselor, someone that helped people find their true love, or really delved into, how to better your relationships with others. Because this feels very other-oriented. Like you're helping other people with other people. And you're taking charge by doing what it is that you're sharing with others, but you're seen as a leader here, and you're someone who's meant to lead people. And I feel like this is something with passion that you have. You're meant to lead others based on this passion that you have, and that passion will eventually help others in a very unique way, because it is shadow work. Okay, so you could specialize in shadow work, or you're just someone who naturally gets people to question the things that everybody accepts. So, good shadow work question is, what am I denying myself, right? Like, that's just an example that's coming in. So you might naturally just ask somebody this in a conversation, an everyday conversation. What do you feel like you're denying yourself? And it takes people aback. They're like, nobody's ever asked me that question before. No one's ever asked me something that's similar to that before. I don't even know how to answer that. You might lose people right away, but I do feel like because it's very unique and out of the blue, there's a lot of people who are willing to think deeper in that situation or in that topic, and to delve into, like, I don't know, like, what am I denying myself? I've denied myself self-love, or I've always put myself on the back burner, or I've denied myself something I love to do, but I haven't done it because I feel like I have so many other responsibilities. But you're helping people find segues into their dreams and into the things that they really truly admire. Someone here's a baker. That came through really strongly as well. Like, maybe you're always baking things for others or making food for others. Baker for sure, but it could be cooking as well. But yeah, it came in. Someone's a baker. No, I hear that baker, the candlestick maker. What is that from? Is that like a childhood rhyme or something? I don't know. Okay, so this is interesting energy, though. It's you're sent here to help people embrace and accept the shadow. So who are you? Is you're someone who works with the shadows, and in a very light worker-esque way, if you will. So as I told pile 1, I'm actually going to be using my Tarot Marseille today, because I was going to be using the Wild Unknown Tarot, but I really feel like this message deserves to just be picked apart, and we're going to get deep into it. Okay, so who is pile number 2 source? What would you like to share today about pile number 2? Who are they? What would you like to share about pile number 2 today? Who are they? Yeah, you help people balance the light and the dark. Like, help them find choices. Not to be ruled by the dark, but to find the balance in the dark. So when people are coming from their shadow, you're helping them recognize that shadow and asking them vital questions that reframe their shadow in their mind. So if someone is, I don't know, say they're very emotionally unbalanced and they react to everything, right? A very emotional person, it's very hard to deal with a very super, not a sensitive person. I'm talking about someone who's very driven by their emotions. Everything you say, they take personally. Everything that comes up, they take personally, and it just turns into this very big deal. So you might actually be the one that says, like, you know, have you ever thought about maybe stepping away and seeing that as not a personal attack? Like, what would that mean to you now? And they stop and they're, oh, I never would have thought about that because it feels so personal. You give them that in to where they start actually learning more about themselves in a deeper way. Wow. Okay. Who is pile number 2 source? What would you like to share with us today? Who is pile number 2 source? What would you like to bring forth? Yeah, and I do feel like you easily help. Oh, they want it this way. Okay. I feel like you easily help others step out of jealous, obsessive, possessive energy. You naturally help people move away from that type of energy. So it's like they're being driven, right? That's that emotional energy that's coming in, being driven by their emotional hurts, their wounds, their pains. And you help them step aside from that and just look at it kind of on the outside looking in, like I'm on the outside of the window and I'm looking in at this situation from a whole different place, and it helps them put it in perspective. Yeah, to move away from it. With the Knight of Wands here, yeah, moving on to something that's more, they're saying profitable, but we're not looking at finances. We're looking at something that's spiritually profitable, that's life lessons profitable, moving into something that is more grounded and more spiritual by nature. You know, the wands talk about being connected to spirits, taking action, but it's action derived from the spiritual force that comes from within us, right? So with the Knight of Wands here, it's moving towards something or traveling towards something that is more grounded, excuse me, and more at peace. That's what this feels like. Yeah, the 7 of Cups. Wow. The Page of Swords and the 9 of Swords. Yes, okay. So this is confirming what I was feeling. This setting of those emotional boundaries with others. I feel like you don't have to do it for them. That's not what's coming through here. What's coming through is you're asking questions. You're just asking them to consider it from a different viewpoint. Like putting the shoe on the other foot, in other words. Like instead of it being a very personal thing, what happens if this isn't personal? And an example here would be like narcissists, right? Like people are saying that narcissists are the spawn of the devil, that they were sent just to make their life a living HE double hockey stick, that, oh my gosh, everything is bad for us and this, that, and the other, and they're labeling narcissists, but maybe you're the person that tells them, like, what if narcissists are just really, really hurt people, and this is how they've chosen to show up for their life? And no one else has asked them that, or no one else has painted it in a way that you painted it, pile 2. And they're in this place of, oh my gosh, this is still just a person. And so they're now not demonizing them. They're seeing them as a person, and they're seeing them as a person that may be toxic to them, but also a person that has experienced life just as much as the rest of us. And that's a really hard concept for people who've dealt with narcissists to embrace. And I know from personal experience, I definitely demonized the narcissists in my life as well. But through learning forgiveness and healing, I've recognized, wow, the patterns that are there are very glaring. But because we're so emotionally involved in the situation, it's very hard for us to see it from anything other than personal. But that's what you're doing. You're doing something, and the way you're doing it is helping anybody that's dealing with any kind of situation to see it as not personal, but as just a circumstance. This is something that's just coming up right now. It's out of your control how this person shows up, and that's who you are, is you're helping others see this. It's something that they don't want to face. They don't want to see it that way. they don't want to see it as they're the ones that also have red flags. When we're not looking at situations from a place of love, unconditional love, and that's acceptance of all that is, it's hard for us to continue to move about in our own lives, and we get stuck in a certain cycle. So you're helping them to let go of this cycle, to free themselves from their own patterns, saying, I have to hold on to this belief that I have to demonize narcissists. And this is just the example, right? So whatever it is that you're doing, it could be anything, right? But this is just the example that they're giving me here. And this is something that many people don't want to face. But when we look at the page, we see this very young man. I mean, it could be a young woman on this card too, right? We see this very young person on this card. They're very young. They're inexperienced. They're, trying to defend themselves from something from the past. They're about ready to lob their own head off with the sword here. And they're not sure of which way to go. Like, my hips are pointed towards the future. Like, I want to find stability in the future. I'm focused on something in the past, though, which is creating a lot of instability in this present moment. And the Page of Swords is a very telling individual because of that. There's a lot of movement in this card. There's a lot that's happening. And there's also a lot of cowardice. When we're in the reverse, there's a lot of cowardice that's coming up. And it's saying, like, I'm just leaning on this excuse. Or, when everybody does something, that's just what society accepts. That's that type of energy that's coming in with the Page of Swords. It's saying, like, well, everyone else is doing this, so I'm just accepting that as is. But you're coming in and saying that's not the way things are, right? We have this individual cup in the center here that is actually separate from these Six of Cups up here. The Six of Cups is all about, it is romantic love, but it's a very balanced love. It's equal give and take love. It's very stable. It's very sturdy. You see, this is something that's built very strongly here. And we're singling out the Ace of Cups, which is coming back to source, coming back to that divinity within. How can we be representatives of unconditional love ourselves? And this is what you're doing with others. You're helping others to see that they themselves have to choose to be representatives of unconditional love if they ever want to experience that love in their own life. Wow. It's a very powerful message coming in. What else would you like to tell pile number 2, source? Thank you. On the bottom, yeah, Earth. We have Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn energy with persistence, patience, and practicality. Patience and practicality are the ones that are standing out for me here. Yes, persistence, of course. Persistently showing up in this grounded energy. You're very stable, very grounded energy, very connected to Mother Earth. You might spend a lot of time outside. You might spend a lot of time with plants or growing your own garden or with earth fairies, I'm hearing. Whatever it is that resonates with you. You could be an earth sign as well. And there's this energy where you're just so grounded. You're so stable in who you are and how you see the world that stability helps to ground others back into this real world, the reality, right? And not what it is that they're perceiving as their reality. So you're helping bring them back to the reality, the actual things that are happening in front of us, and not the spin that our emotional ego likes to put on it and saying, oh, it has to be this way, it has to be that way, it has to be this way. Oh, it's personal, right? It's saying, no, this is simply how it is. We're taking a step outside and we're looking back in. And you do that in a very unique way, a very, very stable way. You're like the teacher that everyone wishes that they had. So you could feel like you're meant to teach people something. You could feel like being a spiritual teacher here is something that calls you. But I do feel like you do have teacher abilities, and that's something that helps drive this shadow. You're a shadow worker. I don't know how else to say it. That's really what it is. You're a shadow worker. Yeah, Midhaven, mind your reputation. Like, this is interesting because it's like, again, we're not going to cross this barrier. We're not going to cross this boundary. Mind your reputation. So there's a lot of gossip that might go around situations that you're helping to deal with, or that you're actually put in place to deal with by source. There might be a lot of gossip, or people just, it really feels like the people that you're helping to heal are people who are just spinning it the way that makes it make sense for themselves, right? Well, I would never show up that way, so I'm going to put my spin on it. Well, if this person's hurting me, it's obviously because of XYZ. And you're the person that's saying, like, hold up. Like, you're putting a lot more pressure on this situation than needs to be. We need to stop for a second and actually see what's happening. So you're standing your ground, and you're a force to be reckoned with, which we did see in the collective message at the beginning of the reading as well. If you hadn't caught that and you feel called to, it is time-stamped in the description box. South Node energy. Some of you may very well be here from pile number 1. You do not have to watch pile number 1 if you were not called to it. That is okay. So stick to your comfort zone. Exactly. So this is something that all of society is doing. And the South Node is something that we're uncomfortably comfortable with, right? That's not where our spirit wants to be, but it's where emotional ego is settled on, because this is easy for me to fall into a routine, to fall into patterns, to fall into habits. You're helping people let go of that habit, those patterns, those things that we're calling. Wow, okay. Child eternal. Flipping over. Determination to remain young in body, mind, and spirit. Ability to see things with fresh eyes. I cannot make this up. Wow. That's what you're doing. You coming in with fresh eyes, but it's not fresh eyes. It's ancient eyes, right? It's spiritual eyes. But that is fresh in a sense, because it's very, like, we're all human, right? We're all having this human experience. So you're not only are you able to see it from the human viewpoint, you're able to see it from the spiritual viewpoint. And that's helping with people dealing with their shadow and facing that part of their shadow. So the shadow is the inability to grow up and be responsible. Extreme dependency on others for physical security. And this dependency is not just like money or housing situations. This also feels like a dependency on others to, quote unquote, be human, mess up, so that I can find security and continuing to go back to those old ways, those old patterns, those old habits. On the bottom of the deck, we have athlete. Yeah, this is a superpower. Dedication to transcending physical limits, including handicaps, right? And we know our shadow is a handicap for us, right? It's something that we have to integrate and become aware of so that we can step into our fully aligned selves. It says development of personal willpower and strength of spirit. Oh my gosh, I love that. And it says the shadow is misuse of athletic abilities for selfish ends, false sense of invulnerability, and entitlement. Yeah, so you're helping others to see that, you know, as much as we want to label everyone as whatever, ultimately the only person that we're hurting is ourselves, because we're all connected. Many leaves, one tree energies coming in here for sure. While we have crow spirit, co-create with spirit. So number 8, this is all about healing karmic situations among others. More than just healing them, though, it's you're helping other people face their own karmic situations. Not just the people in their lives, but themselves, right? Their own personal karmic patterns that they didn't want to deal with. Yeah, we have dear spirit, bring a gentle touch. Look, we have 17 and 18 coming out together. This flew out of the deck, and we have 18 on the bottom. You're like helping people take one step. You're not seeing the end result of the seeds that you're planting, but you're someone that's planting seeds. You're someone that's helping people take one step closer to their higher selves. You're this very beautiful, gentle energy that's here, that's like, I'm going to reach out my hand and I'm going to guide you. That's why I was saying, like, teacher energy is coming through so strong. You're helping to teach others to rely on themselves, but by showing them the things that are reliable. And they're leaning into that. And you do it in a very gentle way. You're not judgmental. I don't feel that from you at all. You're just asking that question, like, hey, what about this? Or have you thought about this? And they're over here like, oh my gosh, I never even thought to ask myself that question. Or I never even thought about it that way. Yeah, we have stop. You stop people in their tracks. That's what happens, right? Like that boundary again. It's you're like, we need to stop. We need to stop and we need to look at this from a different way, because the path that you're going on leads to self-destruction. But you're not necessarily telling people that. It's just that's the energy that comes up. It's just like, okay, whoa, hold on. This is, have you asked this question? Because if you ask this question, it wouldn't surprise me if you feel very drawn to Merlin, or if you've worked very closely with Merlin energy as well. That's coming in very strongly. But yeah, you stop their red flags, okay? With the Nine of Swords here, there's red flags. This is thought patterns. You stop their thought patterns in their track, and you begin to help them rewire new pathways, new neural pathways, by asking these questions. On the bottom, sweetness again, but you do it in a very sweet way. You're not an abrasive person at all. You're a leader, but you're not the leaders that are out here like really aggressive or really just like tearing down houses in the way, right? You're someone that just comes in and you sit down, you're like, hey, let's have a cup of tea together. And while you're drinking tea in normal conversation, you're being that leader. You're destroying societal beliefs and patterns in their place. Wow, okay. Thank you. On the bottom, yeah, look at this. We have the butterfly with soul, number 28, which is 10, the completion. So you're coming in, helping people complete cycles in a very unique way, but also it's as gentle as, what is that? Butterfly kisses. What is that song? Is that Bob Carlyle? Da-da-da-da. With little white flowers all up in her hair. I don't remember all the words, but I think it's like Butterfly Kisses. It's like this, it's such a sweet song. I think it's Bob Carlyle, Butterfly Kisses. Check that out. Check out the lyrics. It might resonate with you, but you're giving these butterfly kisses to people that are transforming them in a miraculous way. It's something that's very gentle. So you come in and you give people a hug, and that hug is what transforms them, right? You're not someone that's breaking down barriers. This is like shadow work. Everybody looks at shadow work as this very destructive energy. But you create destruction based on gentleness and love and sweetness and kindness. And this is the soul energy, right? This is who you are. It's something that you've embodied and embraced and accepted along the way, and you're willing to embrace that. It's like, this is just how I am, and I'm cool with that. I like being this way. Square. Yeah, a challenging situation, a mountain to climb. That's the thing. It's like these are very challenging things for individuals to let go of. And so you're someone here that's helping to let that, to shift the focus, to shift how people see themselves and how they see other people in situations. Polar bear ancestors, number 26, 8 again. We have 888. Okay, coming out for you. So you might resonate with seeing 888 a lot, or 8 might find you. You might have been born on the 8th of the month, in August on the 8th. You might have been born in 88. Okay, so again, dealing with karmic situations with the ancestors here, like you're very connected to your ancestral lineage, and you're bringing back that wisdom, right? And it's cold. Sometimes it's very cold with this polar bear energy. It's like freezing people out, stopping them in their tracks. Freeze! What is that red light, green light game coming into my mind right now, right? And you're when you make people stop, that stops the pattern of the thought, and you're the one that's leading them somewhere else. Let's look at it this way. Let's ask this question of ourselves. Let's find out this answer for ourselves. You're not giving them that answer, but you're asking the question so they can find it for themselves, knowing that that means more to them. Let's see what your card is. I'm going to read this from the book. No, we've got crow and crow coming out for you. What? That's so synchronistic. Oh, I love that. All right, of the air. All right, crow, where you at? Butterfly kisses. I think it's like after midnight, bedtime. Oh, after bedtime prayers. Butterfly kisses after bedtime prayers, sticking little white flowers all up in her hair. I don't know. It's been so long. I haven't listened to that song in so long, but it's coming through. So powerful. Okay, I can't. We have spiritually strong. That's it. But you're this gentle person that's coming in. Creative and watchful. The crow has long been a symbol of magic. A crow personality is drawn to the supernatural and has a gift for seeing the unseen and knowing the unknown. It is said that the crow holds within its mind's eye the three realities, the past, the present, and the future. Didn't I say that at the beginning? Like you're helping people see reality as it is, not the reality that they're perceiving. I'm 100% sure I said that on your reading. What a synchronicity. It says crow energy is potent and should only be tapped into when the mind is clear. Those with crow tendencies must balance their lives with a healthy diet, joyful friends, and regular self-study. When in balance, you're psychic, strong, and clear. When out of balance, you're ungrounded and hypersensitive. And isn't it interesting they used ungrounded? Because this whole time I've felt this energy of being very grounded. Wow. It says to bring into balance daily meditation practice. Whoa. So you're this spiritually strong person that's sent here to help others work on their shadow and to embrace and accept the shadow within, right? Also their selves, like embrace the part of shadow of themselves that they might not want to embrace. That's scary to embrace, right? That's the challenge. And it is a challenge. And I feel like people, there's times when they want to really dislike you, but because your soul is so gentle and kind and sweet, it's hard for people to dislike you. Even if they dislike you and they might get triggered by you, they might get turned off by the fact that you're trying to help them deal with their own shadow. Like they still are left with a really profound impression of you. Like, wow, pile 2, they're a really kind person. They're not my cup of tea. They're not my person. You know, I don't want them in my life, but I know that they're a very good person. And I know that there's a lot of people that resonate with that. This is a very powerful message. So powerful. This is what I see here for you, pile 2. If you feel like this is your reading, leave a little crow emoji down below and say, I am the feather that softly touches the earth, leaving a sign for others to follow by their own choosing. And if it resonated, it would mean so much to me if you were to like, comment, and subscribe below. And if you're interested in supporting the channel further, please check out the description box. It has everything you need. And with that, I want to take a moment to thank your guides, your spirit messengers, your angel source, and my spirit guides for coming together to give us this truly powerful message. And until next time, pile number 2, stay human. Bye. Hello, my fellow human. If you were drawn to this dice with Jupiter on it, or if you were drawn to this lapis lazuli gemstone with the third eye alm seed sound on it, or if you were drawn to this card during the shuffle, this is going to be a reading on who are you. I do want to say thank you to anyone and everyone that continues to be a supportive part of the journey with me. I'm truly honored to be sharing this time and this space with you. And if you are new here, welcome. This is that reminder that we're all here sharing this human experience together, and that this is a safe space to show up as your highest, most aligned, loving, authentic selves. We do things completely differently around here, so with that in mind, should the messages happen to resonate with you, it would mean the world to me if you were to like, comment, and subscribe below. Alright, so let's go ahead and hop to it and find out. For pile number 2, source, who are they? What would you like to share with us today? For pile number 2, who are they? What would you like to say today, source? What would you like to share? Who's pile number 2? Okay, so we've got the 6th house, we have Aquarius energy, and we have Uranus. You're the trendsetters. Okay. You're doing the things that are light years ahead of their time, but that are going to catch on. Maybe not necessarily in your lifetime, but potentially in your lifetime, yes. So it's not to be like, oh, it'll never happen. It's not that. That's not what this is. It's just that there's something here where it's the gravity of what you're bringing is huge, and it's bringing a lot of change. And when it does finally catch on, it's massive change across the collective that's coming in. So you're like an initiator, okay? And through initiating others into this process, it's helping others to start using these very off the wall ideas to advance themselves spiritually. And it's through health and well-being. It could be through your daily routine. Maybe you've found peace with the grind. So many people want success to be this overnight thing, and it's always running away from just the discipline and grind that actually brings success. And so for you, pile 3, I do feel like there's a part of you that has found peace with the grind, and you're helping others find peace with the grind. And while that's something that's well known, that consistency is key to success, it's also the way that you're presenting it is helping others to embrace it in a much what do I want to, what's trying to come out? It's in a more rounded way. Rather than just like, yeah, I know I have to do this. It's more or less like, I get to do this, and I'm excited that I get to show up because this is what's changing my life, and I'm excited to see what's next. And while it might seem boring or monotonous at times, it's actually that monotony that's bringing the biggest change, and you're helping others to see that. So whether that's through physical health, emotional health, spiritual health, mental health, emotional health, whatever it is, there's a health element that's connected to this. Also finding joy in the day-to-day things that you're doing, whether that's going to work, taking care of the kids, taking care of a household, paying the bills, doing the day-to-day things. You're helping to set new trends in regards to that. So maybe you had stumbled upon ikigai, if you know what that is. It's a Japanese practice where they find the pleasure in the small things, and finding the pleasure in the small things makes life more enjoyable and filled with joy. And this is just a very rudimentary, basic Reader's Digest explanation of ikigai. It's a very, very deep practice that you can put into your everyday, but maybe you stumbled across something like that and you're putting that into practice with others, or maybe in a past life you lived in Japan, and that could be something that's coming through as well. I wasn't expecting past life to come up so much in this reading, but it definitely is, and I'm kind of here for it for sure. But there's this energy where you're also helping others to see that monotony does not equal bad, right? So many people feel that way. Or discipline is not a bad thing. Discipline helps get us to that next level. And you're doing it in a very creative, unique, and inspirational way. And you're affecting many, 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 many people. And if you're not doing this yet, this is something that's going to be a part of your journey. But you're here to affect many people. This could be a worldwide change. This could be a community shift. This could be, people from your area, your state, your country, whatever it is. It's like, this is a big change though, and you're going to be helping others to inspire this change. And when it does take, it's going to be sudden. It will appear like you had overnight success, but it's not something that's going to come quite in that way. But it will appear that way. And it might even appear that way to you, but you're going to know the work that you put in to get to where you are. So, as I said with pile 1 and 2, I'm using the Tarot Marseille today because I feel like this reading deserves a deeper look. And yeah, so that's why I'm using these today. And also, if you chose to watch all 3 piles with me, you are part of my Purple Heart Club. So leave a purple heart down below. That is for those of you that stuck out the entire reading with me. Truly honored that you chose to do so. And even if you're here just for pile 3, I'm honored to have you share this time and space with me, and it means a lot to me, so thank you. But let's find out. Source, pile number 2. Who are they? What more would you like to share with us today? Yeah, you're a very clear person. You're very illuminated in a sense. Like, you are light years ahead of the day-to-day average person. Who is pile number 3, source? Who's pile number 3? Whoa. Okay, so I guess you're... Okay, if you don't tell, I won't tell. But you're getting 4 cards. I was only doing 3 card pulls, and yeah, you're gonna get 4 cards. So we're gonna take it because it came out on the bottom. The 6 of Cups. Yeah, you're helping people find love of very mundane things. It feels very mundane. It's like doing the dishes, and yet somehow you're spinning it in a way where people can absolutely love and enjoy it. That's just the example that's coming through here, but that's what this really feels like. Loving what they're doing, loving how they're showing up, what it is that they're getting involved in. We've got the 7 of Swords reversed, we have the Death reversed, or the Nameless, number 13, Judgment, and the Tower, breaking down walls. You could have Uranus highly aspect in your chart. You could also have Scorpio energy highly aspect in your chart as well. That would not surprise me. Heavy Aquarius, Uranus, Scorpio, Pluto energy coming in, okay? It's like there's people that you're inspiring that have done the same thing over and over again and expected different results, but we obviously know that doesn't work. It doesn't work if we're expecting something, the same thing that we're doing, to give us something different. It's not going to. But they've been stagnant and stuck doing these things, or believing in these patterns, or thinking these thoughts. And you're coming in, and you're the trumpet caller, right? You're the one that's calling out to them, saying like, hey, let's look at this differently. Let's see it from this other way. But this really feels like, okay, this is not just like beliefs, or this is not just patterns. This feels foundational to our survival, is what this feels like. So you could be inventing something that is going to impact the world in a very profound way. You could be creating a program that's already impacting people in a very profound way. So we're not just looking at, like pile 1 and pile 2 are more about the spiritual sense, like in the here and the now, and for each individual person. This feels like globally it's going to affect people. So they're showing me AI. That's what they're showing me. So it's like maybe creating something to work in tandem with AI. You could be working in a very highly classified type work environment, and something that you're creating and inventing is going to be moving us and advancing us further than we ever thought was possible. But it's something that scares people, okay? It's something that scares the mass collective, because it's not something that we're used to seeing. But there's something about this that you're going to spin it in a way where people are going to love it, or it's not like there's no act here. You're not trying to play a game, or you're not trying to falsify something here. You're really trying to show people the usefulness of whatever said creation is. And you're doing it in a way that is going to inspire others to willingly do things that they would otherwise despise or hate or neglect, even because of the discomfort that follows those types of changes. It maybe, so like they're showing me where maybe you create some type of garden that is sustainable for the long run, and it could feed the world over. Okay, and this is just the example that they're showing. This doesn't have to be what it is, but this is what they're showing. It's like, and you're ending world hunger, and you might be talking to the corporate owners and people who are very high up in corporations, and you might be talking to them like, we need to shift the way that we're distributing food because we need to start taking care of the people who don't have food. And it's like where people would naturally be resistant to that because they're seeing it at cost, they're not seeing it as a profit. You're bringing it in such a way that they're willing to agree to the loss because of the potential of whatever this is. This is like massive. This is huge. Okay. This is outside of my realm for sure. You are very bright minds. You're someone who has always been able to, maybe science was like your best subject in school, or you always really liked science, or you always were a creator with your hands, building, taking apart things and building something new with all the things that you took apart. Yeah, this feels very, very science-y to me, though. It does. It feels very science-y. Maybe engineer could be coming in here, where you're using your mind to help others. You're using your mind to save others, to unite others, to free others, to lift others up. There's something here where you're looking at this as a global impact. That's what this really feels like, pile 3. This is a global impact. This is something that you're teaching people about, and they're loving it, and they're going to embrace it. And it's taking us away from this very stagnant, negative energy, this very low vibrational energy, this very low vibrational belief. And we're gonna go willingly. We're gonna go willingly. This is like world leader stuff here. Wow, that's cool. If this is resonating with you, like, whoa, holy Toledo, thank you for being here. Because this is a very unique pile for sure. This is energy that is it's very crafty. It just feels very crafty. Like, this isn't you offering like soap for people. This isn't you offering like clothes for people. And if you are, that stuff is great. It's beautiful. It's cool. We totally need that. You, though, pile 3, in fact, it wouldn't surprise me if the people who chose pile 3 are very limited, and there's only like 1 or 2 people, maybe 10 people who choose pile 3 because of how small this niche is. Like, it's very small. It's you have a degree. You're someone who went to school to learn more about whatever this is. It's not just creating it for the sake of being called to. It's like you knew what you wanted to do as a child, and you did all the steps to getting and obtaining all the degrees and certifications that needed to become that. It's like when people ask you as a child, what do you want to be? And you are doing that. You're doing what your answer was. That's what this really feels like. You've known who you are for your entire life. You never question that about yourself. But it feels like you always knew you were here to do something much bigger than people were able to dream, or what you saw people around you doing. Everybody around you seemed very caged off or enclosed in very small-minded dreams, and you saw something much bigger than that. This could be even working in space. This could be working for NASA, Ball Aerospace. This could be, I feel like, security clearance level status here. So for sure I would understand pile 3 if you don't comment down below. I understand that, but I appreciate you nonetheless. This feels very under wraps, on lockdown type of energy, but who you are is meant to knock down. This is knocking down conglomerates. This is knocking down businesses. But they're almost, it's the way that you're bringing it and the way that you're presenting it. They're willingly giving up so that you can have the leeway or the headway to do this. And you're doing it for the betterment of our entire collective. This isn't for greed. This isn't for money. This isn't for what the businessman is, right? When we think of a businessman, we think of someone who's out to line their own pockets. And, you know, businesswoman or business person, whatever, right? But we think of someone that's out to line their own pockets, that's only there for the bottom dollar. I want to be richer. I want to be bigger. I want to have more power. You're doing this in order to give back power to the people, is what it feels like. Wow. This is next level. This is next level energy here. You're destroying corporations. That's what it feels like. Wow. Alright, Source. What else would you like to tell pile number 3? Who are they? Yeah, look at this. Jupiter energy. Wasn't Jupiter on your, as the dice you could choose from? I'm pretty sure it was. But we have Jupiter, grow and expand. Yeah, you're here to grow and expand. Spiritually, abundance. Like, this is for others as well. Bringing wisdom to others. Bringing knowledge. Tapping into the Akashic records. So it's almost like maybe you've been doing some certain type of research and you realize if we keep going the same way that we're going, like, we're going to destroy ourselves. Or, you know, the outcome does not look like it's in our favor for sure. And you have found a way to start bringing balance back to that so that we can continue to live life on Earth. I feel like for you, pile 3, you're someone who really lives by that we borrow the land from our children energy. But for you, it's not just your direct children. It's descendants from 1,000 years from now. You're not looking just at the next 50 years. You're not looking just at the next 100 years. Like, you're looking so far into the distance that people have, like, nobody looks that far in the distance, right? And you're the person that's saying, if we don't look that far into the distance, what are we going to be left with after a few generations? You're that person that's asking those types of questions. Yeah, self-express and embody the truth. So you're someone who sees the big picture. Wow, this is really big. The sun, right? The star in the universe. You're here to bring the light. But it's the light, you know, when we think about stars, what is it? We're seeing the reflection of stars, but isn't it true that the stars have already burned out? And so we're seeing the star from the past. We're not actually seeing the stars in this moment. So that's why time is such a weird thing. But that's another thing here. It's like you're recognizing that we could easily become like the star, extinct, or turn into a dwarf. What is it? A red dwarf or a supernova or something along those lines. It's like it wouldn't take much for us to shift the balance. So how can we bring that back into balance? Yeah, Pisces energy coming in. Tune into your intuition. This is something that you've always known. It's like almost as if you suspected this as a child, and then as you grew older, you finally had the means to research it. And when you research it, you were like, oh, I knew I was right. I knew that this is what it was. Like quantum physics, maybe you work in quantum physics, or that's something that you've studied. Wow. I don't know. Like, it does feel like you're a scientist of some sorts, okay? And Please, like, I don't know all the science, what is it, the science genres, if you will, that are out there. Like, I don't know all the side reels and all that stuff, so you could very well be a scientist. But yeah, malefics, look at this. Beware of the challenges. We have Saturn showing up in this. This energy is crazy coming in your reading. As a child, like, since you were young, you've always been aware of the challenges, even though no one necessarily told you. Excuse me. It was something that you were very aware of. You just knew. It was like they gave you this information, and from that you were able to put the puzzle pieces together and see, like, whoa, hold on, if we keep going down this road, this is what's going to happen. So you're here to save lives with your mind. What a cool thing. Like, I'm honored to be reading for you. If this is resonating with you, pile 3, like, I'm truly honored to be reading for you. Like, wow. Yeah, authenticity, wolf. Like, you knew there was something much bigger standing in the way, right? It's like everybody's all scared of this or that or this or that. It's like you're looking so far into the future. You're like, we need to be worried about that. Maybe it's a comet. Maybe you're an astrologer. Maybe there's like a comet that's headed towards us or something like that. Total movie energy, I know, right? Could be like, what is it, Armageddon or something like that. But maybe that's real. Maybe you've learned about something like that, and you're saying, you know, if we don't take care of things now, we're literally on the path to self-destruction. But that's what this feels like, self-destruction. This whole reading's been about destructive energy. It's crazy. And how everybody here is in some way, shape, or form thwarting it. It's awesome. Seeker. Thirst for wisdom and truth wherever they are. And the shadow is the inability to commit to a path once found. Yeah, you're a seeker. You're very intuitive energy, very knowledgeable, very wise. Understanding, and it could be very spiritual. Maybe this is something very spiritual. I'm just saying it feels very sciencey because we have Uranus and Aquarius energy with the tower out. It's a very sciencey energy coming in, but it could be anything, right? It could be anything that you're working on. It's just meant to shift mankind. It's meant to shift humanity to something else, to safety. Shifting them to a new path, to grow and expand. Alchemist, yeah, exactly. Transformation of base motives and goals into golden wisdom. Yes, the shadow is misuse of power and knowledge that come through spiritual practice. You're doing this because you're an alchemist. You are the alchemist. Powerful, powerful energy. What else, source? For pile number 3. Thank you. On the bottom, we have... What? I can't with you, pile 3. We have giraffes. See the bigger picture. That's what I'm saying. Like, you really feel this energy coming from you where we don't inherit the land from our forefathers. We borrow this land from our children. And if we're not looking thousands of years into the future, what are we leaving our future generations with? Like, you're seeing the big picture. You're not about it for yourself. That's not what you're in this for. You're in it for everyone else. But not just everyone in this moment. You're in it for everyone in the future. So you're like a spokesperson for every person in the future. Wow. Oh my gosh, I didn't even know this card didn't pick up with this, but it has watch your words. Watch your words, the parrot. Like, you're trying to bring some sense of warning to everyone, but they're not getting it. I feel like there's a little bit of frustration here for sure. But with just cause, right? If people are just not listening to you. But I do feel like eventually it will catch on. That's what I kept saying at the beginning, this feeling. It's like, oh, it's not catching on yet, but when it catches on, it's going to be like overnight success or overnight like wildfire. Everybody's going to do it. It's the trend. It's now the trend. This is now how we do things. Okay, I feel like that one on the bottom. Oh my gosh, I cannot make this up. We have success on the bottom. What? That's it. Yeah, it's when it happens, it's gonna be like that. But you know the amount of work that you've put into this. You know how much you had to do to get to this point. But for everyone else, it's gonna look like you became an overnight sensation. But for you, you're knowing this is years and years and years of dedication and hard work, and you absolutely deserve this. Companionship, dog. Yeah, you are everybody's spokesperson. Like, you're the spokesperson of the world. What a powerful energy you have. Like, you're looking out for people you don't even know. You've never met. People you'll never meet. You're looking out for them. You have their best interest in mind. And they'll never know you. Or they might know you. Or they might know you because of whatever this is, right? It depends on what it is. Because for some, you're a nameless hero. And you'll be a nameless hero because of the type of industry that you work in. But you're okay with that. Because you know that you contributed something of worth and of purpose. Of great purpose. Moth, surrender now. The transformation in the darkness. Something that's in the dark. Something that's in the shadow. Something that's not seen to the naked eye. Yeah, for many of you, this is something that's going to be behind closed doors. The success that comes is going to be behind closed doors. Like, you're going to get to experience the fruit of your efforts for sure, but the people that are being impacted by whatever it is that you bring to the world, they're not going to know you face to face. They're not going to know your face. They're not going to know your name. They're not going to know who you are. And for some, maybe that's like oh, I don't want that. Like, no, get out of here with that. But I feel like for you, if this is your pile 3, if you really resonate with this, like, for you, you're cool with that. You're like, I never wanted to be in the spotlight anyways. Like, I don't want the flashing lights. I don't want my name up on the boards. I literally want to help because that's what I feel like I'm here to do. And you take pride in that. And you're this really amazing person who's shown many other people that we don't have to just think about here and now. We really have to consider what's our future. But not future for me, future for us. What's our future? Yeah, sadness. Wow. This is like what's driving you is sadness. You're seeing things falling apart. You're seeing where people are turning to, whatever it is that they're turning to, whatever it is that you're trying to impact. You're seeing it go down the wrong path. You're seeing it go down the wrong way. And you surrendered it to yourself, and you're recognizing, I can't control everyone, but I can be a force that changes it now for future situations so that people don't have to deal with this later on. I feel like sadness is definitely a driving factor for you. Worried about the end of the world, or worried about the end of humanity or civilization or whatever it is. It's like that worry is what's driving you. And it's not necessarily like, I posted today, worries, a misuse of imagination. This is worry with a cause. It's worry paired with an action, right? You know the action you can take, and you're doing everything you can to do that action. It's just other people who are inactive that are getting in the way, or that are creating a lot of barriers or blockages, and you can't control those. And so you've surrendered that I can only show up to the fact that I can do this, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do it with 1,000% of who I am, and I'm going to let the rest take care of itself. That's why I feel like when things happen, it's going to be so sudden. And if it happens in your lifetime, pile 3, even you're going to be surprised. So I feel like you did this you're not worried about getting fame. You're not worried about getting the riches. You're not worried about having all these fancy things in life. You're just worried about 1,000 years from now, what is my however many great grandchild, what kind of a life are they going to be living in? Because I don't want to leave them with a world falling apart. I want to leave them with something that said, like, wow, my ancestor made sure that I was safe and cared for and loved in this time. Whoa. So I'm going to take a look at this, and we're going to read this one from the book. We have the black egg. Yeah. It's a very powerful energy. This is spirit energy. Anytime we get these circles, these are spirit energies coming up. So the black egg, I believe, is the throat chakra, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, the black egg. Speaking from an authentic voice, the truth. And we have the sun with self-express and embody the truth. Like, you've always known who you were and what you were meant to do. The black egg contains one of life's essential treasures, the truth. Inside of it resides no confusion, excuses, small talk, noise, or lies, not even white ones. This living and breathing vessel harbors only that which rings true. When this essence is in balance, we speak slowly and clearly. We are drawn to activities like writing, reading, teaching, singing, or perhaps public speaking. Sounds draw us in. Books draw us in. The concept of truth itself draws us in. We start asking questions like, what do I know to be true about myself? And what is true about the world? Wow. When the energy of the black egg is not yet accessed, we speak from an unsure place. We say things others want to hear, gossip, or repeat stories to justify our subpar behavior. We might even try to convince ourselves that we have no inner truth at all. The energy of the black egg hovers and waits for us to reconnect. It is available at every moment, in every situation. It's the epicenter of truth and the birthplace of our voice. It says the black egg and the fifth chakra. The subtle essence of this card resides at the base of the throat at the Vishuddha chakra. Ancient sages saw this center as the hub that governs our speech and expression. Vishuddha translate as especially pure. The balance of this center is important for us all, but it is especially essential for writers, editors, musicians, and teachers. Wow. So, maybe you're a writer, or an editor, a musician, or a teacher. Maybe you're here to write something that others will be inspired by millennia from now. But, whatever it is, and that could be a document, that could be some type of study, that could be anything, right? I do feel like you're here and you're looking at generations that people haven't even considered because they're so focused on me, I, and they're not looking at everyone around them. They're not even looking at what's beyond that. What's what we don't see yet. And that's what you do, and that's who you are. You've always known that. You were a little kid probably talking about people 100 years from now, like, what are they going to see? What are they going to be doing? And people are like, why are you asking those questions? We don't know. You're like, because it's important. And they're like, why is that important? And for you, it has always been something that's been important. And that's what I see here for you. Wow, this is an impressive reading. Thank you so much for being here. Alright, so if you feel like this is your reading, is there like a picture frame emoji? Okay, so leave either the picture frame emoji or the mirror emoji down below. And say, I see the bigger picture. Because I understand that I'm here for but a moment's time. However, I choose to impact this moment with the core of who I am. And if it resonated with you, it means so much to me if you were to like, comment, and subscribe below. And if you're interested in supporting the channel further, please check out the description box. It will have everything you need. And with that, I would like to take a quick second to thank your guides, your spirit messengers, your angel source, and my spirit guides for coming together to give us this incredible reading, Pile 3. Thank you so much for being you and for being here. And with that, until next time, stay human. Bye.